Namaste, Jai Hind, and thank you for tuning in and staying with us here at CNN News 18. This is Anand Narsuman coming to you live with the nation at 5 from the CNN News 18 newsroom. And we start with news coming in from Jammu and Kashmir, where there is confirmation that the village defense committees will be strengthened. This is something that we had said as part of the intel note that had been accessed by our investigation editor Manoj Gupta, but also the assurance that came in from the Honorable LG himself, Manoj Sinha, who, when he had gone down to Dangri and met with the people residents at Rajouri, where the incident happened, he had assured that the VDCs would be revived and they would be further strengthened. Now we are given to understand that the former members of the village defense committees have now been given arms. They have been, all those who are former VDCs, they have been given arms, they've been given new weapons and bullets, and this has been done especially in this Dangi village in the Rajouri district, in this area. There was a demand that they wanted SLRs, and that demand is also being considered. Also, what's being done is that the new recruits or new members of the village defense committees will be given proper weapons training and defense training. Tejinder Sodhi now joins us live. So Tejinder, so there is not too much of a gap between a commitment to action and action itself in terms of reviving the VDCs, strengthening them, and also weaponizing or arming them properly.
Indeed, Anand, you rightly pointed out that there has been no gap. The Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir seems to be fulfilling all the assurances that he gave to the people of Dangri. The Dangri is the same village in Rajouri district which witnessed twin terror attacks in which 6 innocent people, including 2 civilians, 2 children, I beg your pardon, 2 children, they lost their life. Now, the very same day, the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, Manoj Sinha, he visited the spot and he assured the people there that the village defense committees in the area would be revived. They would be given arms, ammunition, so as they can fight the terrorists. You see, Anand, the same day when the terrorist attack did take place in the Dangri village, there was one village defense committee member who used one of his old weapons to fire at the terrorists. Had he not fired on the terrorists, the number of casualties would have been much larger. But it was because of him, his name is Bal Krishan, it was because of the Bal Krishan, a former VDC member who used his old weapon to fire at the terrorists, that the number of casualty was down. And this fact has also been acknowledged by the Lieutenant Governor, by the Jammu and Kashmir Police, and today we saw the old weapons of these village defense committee members who are active in the Dangri village. They are being repaired, they are being given new weapons, and new ammunition is being given to those village defense group members in Dangri so as to fight terrorism. Anand, you see, while the central government is also serious to safeguard life and security of the local resident, the local administration here in Jammu and Kashmir is also not leaving a stone unturned to ensure that the local population in the Dangri village, they are safeguarded, they remain safe. 18 companies of CRPF are already on way to Poonch and Rajouri so as to thwart any other attempt of the terrorists to target the local population there. Yes, Anand.
Right. A quick question. Is this only with the Dangri village and also that region, or is this now going to be an exercise across all the Chenab Valley, the entire valley, and also other parts of Jammu, where in the past there used to be VDCs?
See, Anand, gradually the VDCs would be revived. This is the assurance that the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, Manoj Sinha, has given to the people in Poonch, Rajouri, and also in the Chenab Valley, the erstwhile Doda district, which include Doda, Kishtwar, Ramban, Bhadarwa. So village defense groups would be revived in those areas. But initially in the Dangri village, it is being revived because Dangri is the village where the local residents, they had to bear the brunt of this terror attack in which 6 civilians, including 2 children, they lost their lives. The people there, since this attack took place, have been demanding that they should be armed, they should be given weapons, so that whenever any terrorist from Pakistan or anywhere else dares to enter into the village, he should think several times before carrying out a similar kind of attack. You see, Anand, there are multiple inputs with the security agencies that terrorists are planning to carry out similar kind of attack in the region, and that is why the security setup is being enhanced in the area so as to thwart any such attempt by the terrorists in the area. Yes, Anand.
Right. Thank you for your input, Tejinder. So clearly the VDCs are now going to be revived. They're going to be strengthened and providing them weapons and also perhaps repairing some of the weapons that they have had, maintenance of that, and also training to the new members of the VDCs. All of that has started with that Rajouri district, that is the Dangi village, where the twin attacks happened. Moving on to big news coming through on the Dhoot ICICI or Chanda Kochar combine, and that entire case of the loan between Videocon and ICICI Bank, the involvement of Venugopal Dhoot and Chanda Kochar under scrutiny, and a special CBI court has rejected a plea filed by Venugopal, the Videocon group chairman Venugopal Dhoot, challenging his arrest by the CBI. Now, there is a background to this. We'll go across to Ashish Merishi to understand more. Ashish, if you can hear me, it had actually come from Chanda Kochar's point of view, or from their lawyers, that Venugopal Dhoot is equally complicit, and that's why Videocon should also be brought under scrutiny. The chairman Venugopal Dhoot was in connivance and he should be arrested too. And did the arrest then happen? And this challenge now being rejected by the special CBI court.
Anand, before we go into the merits and demerits on why the bail was rejected for Venugopal Dhoot, let's go into the background of the case. The background of the case is very clear, that there are certain allegations which reveal that Videocon got loans from ICICI Bank, and in lieu of that, kickbacks were given to a company where 50% of the equity was being held by none other than the husband of Chanda Kochar, that was Deepak Kochar, and the company's name is NU Power. The amount that was received from this company, which was basically a subsidiary of Videocon. This was, they transferred around 64 crore rupees in lieu of a loan which was around 350 crore rupees. In totality, around 1875 crore rupees of loans were issued. But what was not declared by Chanda Kochar was the fact that, she was staying in a house which was owned by by Videocon. She was basically a director and a shareholder of a company where Videocon was substantial holder of equity. So there are certain facts which were not highlighted to the board of ICICI. And ultimately, you remember that, Deepak Kochar and Chanda Kochar were rejected. And now, subsequently, when Videocon chairman, Venugopal Dhoot was also summoned, he was also arrested. Now, they have been sent to judicial custody until the 10th.
Right.
The challenge in the court was basically, they said that the challenge in the court was that, he cooperated, and despite that, he has been arrested. But that merit did not fall in line with what the court thought, and that is why his bail stands rejected.
Right. Now we've got more information coming in that this does not stop here. As the investigating authorities are doing a deep dive into Videocon's affairs, startling details have now emerged, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll go across to that aspect where CNN News 18 has accessed the entire FIR in a second case against Venugopal Dhoot, which actually reveals a much bigger scam, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to spell out the details. Our investigations editor Manoj Gupta and Ashish Merishi both are contributing to this story. Let's try and understand why this scam could be much, much bigger. In fact, this scam could be nearly the total amount of about 14,185 crores. We were to look at the value of the rupee to the dollar at 51 rupees at that time. And that it does not stop only with ICICI Bank. Was a consortium of banks involved led by SBI. Were officials of the SBI during that period, along with other bank officials of various other banks, also involved in this entire scam? That's the bigger question. Let's try and get you the details. Now, what is under lens is in 2012, SBI-led consortium cleared a $2.7 billion credit to one of the subsidiaries of Videocon itself, VHHL. VHHL is a subsidiary of Videocon Industries Limited. VHHL gained credit to develop overseas oil and gas assets. VHHL gained additional credit of $1.1 billion via the consortium. The credit to VHHL included a $400 million extension from Standard Chartered Bank or SCB in London. Then, Videocon Industries Limited informed the consortium that the SCB loan or the loan from Standard Chartered Bank had increased to $530 million. So from $400 million to $530 million, an upward jump of $130 million. SBI-led consortium then paid $530 million loan to SCB London. So they offset that loan. They paid Standard Chartered Bank London $530 million. The $530 million loan was paid reportedly without any verification. The consortium of banks did not do a due diligence and a deep dive that how is it that their $400 million extension has gone up to $530 million. Towards what has this amount been paid for? No due diligence was done, but this money was paid off, was squared off. Then we are given to understand what the FIR actually says is that the consortium did not take control of Videocon Industries Limited's oil and gas assets. After you've paid off a particular loan, would you not hypothecate the property against which this loan has been taken? That was not done. That is exactly what the FIR says. The loan account between SCB London, that is Standard Chartered Bank London, and VHHL also was not closed. So despite paying off the loan account was not closed. The SBI-led consortium allowed the flow of loans from Standard Chartered Bank London. Assets of VIL were not placed or as collateral for hefty loans. The consortium officers conspired with Venugopal Dhoot. The racket caused a wrongful gain to Videocon Industries Limited, heavy loss to the consortium of banks, and that's public money. The amount is nearly $2,773 million or nearly 14,145 crores based on that the rate at that time, dollar to rupee rate of 51 at that time. Ashish Mehrishi with more. This is a big scam then, 14,000 crore scam, and that too orchestrated by Videocon Industries Limited. So Venugopal Dhoot now in the dock, not just for what happened with ICICI Bank, but this consortium was also used to siphon off funds.
So Anand, I remember this because this case has been in the public domain for quite some time. Though the CBI has registered this case recently about siphoning of around 14,000 crore rupees. Now these are basically oil and gas assets which were in Mozambique, which was taken over by ONGC Videsh Limited after the Videocon Industries faltered in paying back the loans. So the money came into the consortium, it came into the escrow amount, and it should have been distributed among the consortium of banks accordingly on the pro rata basis, but that never happened, and that is why the allegation is that the consortium officer connived with the owners of Videocon, that is the Dhoots, and ultimately that money was siphoned off. Around 14,000 crore rupees have been siphoned off. So money that was basically your money, my money, it's a public money which was supposed to be basically repaid to the banks, that never happened, and the consortium chief was none other than the State Bank of India. So certainly it's not only the ICICI Bank. The exposure of the Videocon group was more than 50,000 crore rupees, and there have been various defaults by the Videocon group, and that is why we can say in days to come Dhoot is going to be in further trouble.
Yeah, so in this case, if this consortium had to be led by a senior bank official and there were multiple banks involved, so is the CBI now going to extend the scope of the investigation and also pull up those officials who were in charge at that time? Can they get away if they have demitted office, or are they still criminally culpable, Ashish?
So, obviously, once even if you have demitted the office, or if you're retired or whatever, if you have signed on the file, if you have not, paid heed to the red flags that were visible, those officers can certainly be brought to book. There is no doubt about it. So that can certainly happen in days to come.
And do we know that was VHHL and Venugopal Dhoot directly in connivance? Where did this money go? Were for more loans extended from the Standard Chartered Bank London?
Anand, I am 100% sure because these documents were in my possession almost 3-4 years back about on how Videocon authorities connived with various bank officials and they cheated the banks by more than 14,000 crore rupees. Though the FIR has been registered now, but this has been in public domain, or you can say at least with the reporters and the agencies for quite some time. And whether it is Standard Chartered Bank, whether it is the bank based out of London, whether it is the State Bank of India, it looks to be that all these officers were involved, and they certainly helped and connived with Videocon authorities.
Well, thank you for your inputs, Ashish. So, big development this, that Venugopal Dut in the dock, not for just the alji-baji with ICICI Bank, where his bail plea has now been rejected, but in a second case, an FIR filed which says that he has siphoned off public money worth nearly 14,000 crores, and that too with connivance with a consortium of banks led by State Bank of India. So will these sleuths get to the bottom of it? Will those officials be named? We'll have to wait and watch. Moving on to yet another shocker, ladies and gentlemen. Now, are passengers treating the Air India aircraft as a public urinal? That becomes a question, ladies and gentlemen, because there is a second case that's now come to the fore. A second case of a passenger urinating in an Air India aircraft, and this was in a Paris-Delhi flight, where the passenger urinated on a woman's blanket. The passenger was let off after an apology. So are there different strokes, different shades? And what is happening inside an Air India flight aircraft? The in-flight crew should also be under scrutiny. When did this incident happen? Ridhima is with us with more details. Yes.
So, Anand, as you rightly pointed out, another shocker that has come to light. We're already grappling around what has happened in the first case. This particular case, we're now understanding, happened on the 6th of December. It's only being reported now. As you rightly pointed out, it happened on a Paris... nearly a month ago. So, it happened on a Paris to Delhi flight. And we're understanding this said male passenger urinated on a co-passenger, a woman's blanket. What we're also understanding, and this is absolutely baffling, that he was let off after an apology. So in the first case, also you've seen lapses on part of the airline and the crew because no action was taken. Similar pattern being seen in the second case
happened in the
as
business
well.
Class?
This happened in the business class.
So there are two cases in the business class where the crew have not been able to control the passenger, and the passenger misbehaves. In one case is let off after an apology. In the other case, the allegation on Air India is that they've gone too soft on this person.
Oh,
whereas while not cracking down on the crew itself, which is also supposed to be held guilty as to why they've served somebody so much of alcohol that person has no clue what is happening, and that they took time to report this matter.
Oh, absolutely. If you look at the complaint that we've accessed here on CNN News 18, look at the ordeal that she's narrated. She's an elderly woman in her 70s. She says, when this man exposed himself to me and urinated on me and I reached out to the crew first dismissed the case. And after that, the only option that was given by the crew to the woman was, we'll give you a set of pajamas and slippers, but you'll have to return to that soiled seat. So she says, I stood in the airplane for about 20 minutes, but was forced to go back to the soiled seat. After that, she also goes on to say, and we're talking about the first case, that the crew themselves had a little chat and they told the woman that, would you want to have a conversation with this said male passenger, and will it be okay if he apologizes? So the hint here is, did the airline actually try to dismiss the case in the first go? And look what happened on arrival also.
Even in the case, as the second case is concerned, the airline has done the same thing. They have let off this passenger with an apology. So somewhere the whole idea of the crew has been ki rafa dafa kar do, let's not catch up these unruly passengers who are traveling business class but they don't know how to hold their alcohol or they don't know how to behave in an aircraft.
And there are lapses on every part, lapses on part of the crew, because what are the protocols that a crew is supposed to follow? One, you're supposed to have sensitivity and empathy to the said passenger. That of course wasn't given. You should have given an alternative. You should have moved her to another seat. There are other passengers on the same flight saying there were available seats, but that wasn't given. And on arrival, you should have had the said passenger arrested. All of this should have been mentioned in a voice report. Why is that not being done? In the first case, the case happened on the 26th of November. There was a 48-hour delay just in filing the first complaint, and then the action has been taken on the 4th of January, which is just a 30-day ban. Here, what is the action? We still don't know because the details are still sketchy.
6th of December incident is coming to light today. Only now. So 1 month later, there you're saying there was a 2-day delay in just filing a report on it. The voiced information of what has happened was not provided. The passenger was not red flagged and not deplaned and not put in as a flight hazard, and no action was also taken. In both the cases, no action has been taken. Ridhima, thank you for your input. So clearly Air India has a few questions to answer, especially the official and the crew which were there on that flight, including of course the captain and the pilot who's the commander of that aircraft. So a lot of those questions will have to be answered by Air India, and we'll see if those answers are forthcoming. Moving on to yet another cause for concern, ladies and gentlemen, here on The Nation at 5, we turn the spotlight towards Joshimath in Uttarakhand, where it's a shocking development that has spooked the entire region of Joshimath, because nearly 500 to 600 houses are are suffering, are looking at the possibility of that entire region slipping down. And these houses have not only developed cracks, but there is also water coming through these cracks. Nearly 500 houses have developed deep cracks. What is even more worrying that these cracks are seeing water seepage, water coming through from the ground. That's what the reports are suggesting. And right from houses to hospitals to hotels, any structure that's been constructed in this region of Joshimath, water is seeping out of the cracks. High tension lines have also been severely damaged in various districts. Hundreds of people have now been evacuated from their homes and are spending nights in extreme cold or in very, very temporary and perhaps not apt situations and conditions. There are also the Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami, who sought a report from the Chamoli DM on this entire matter. The government has formed a 14-member committee to assess the damages. There is a team of experts who has gone down on ground also. Have a look at some of the reports from ground, some reactions also that have come in.
लगातार जोशीमठ का जो सर्वेक्षण का कार्य है वो पिछले दिनों चला है और जो भी सर्वेक्षण की रिपोर्ट आई है उसके आधार पर हम आगे काम कर रहे हैं। अभी हमने इसके लिए एक समीक्षा बैठक भी कर ली है। आपदा प्रबंधन विभाग को पूरी तरह से अलर्ट कर दिया है, जिलाधिकारी को जो भी वहां पर जिस प्रकार के भी प्रबंध करने होंगे, विस्थापन की जो कार्रवाई करनी होगी, जो ट्रीटमेंट करना होगा, वो सभी कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं। जो भी जरूरी काम होगा जोशीमठ शहर को बचाने के लिए किया जाएगा, उसके ट्रीटमेंट के लिए किया जाएगा, लोगों के लिए किया जाएगा।
अन्य जगह से भी जैसे सूचना आई थी, जो मनोहर बाग क्षेत्र में ही जहाँ पे लोगों के घर में थोड़ी दरारें थी, उनका थोड़ा बहुत दरारें और बढ़ने की सूचना आई है। और इसी क्रम में हमने मनोहर बाग वार्ड में ही होटल माउंट व्यू के नीचे जो 5 परिवार रह रहे हैं, जहाँ पे काफी दरार आई थी, उनको नगर पालिका के डॉर्मेट्री में शिफ्ट कर दिया है। 4 परिवार वहां रह रहे हैं, एक परिवार को खंड विकास के ऑफिस के पास में ही शिफ्ट किया गया है। तहसील के भवन में भी कुछ हल्की सी दरारें दिख रही है, तो इसको देख के तो थोड़ा सा लग रहा है कि ये दरार जो है, मतलब जो ये थोड़ा बहुत एरिया दायरा बढ़ते जा रहा है।
Journalist and also former media advisor to the former Uttarakhand Chief Minister Ramesh Bhatt is also joining us. But first I'll go across to Nitin Semwal of News18 Uttarakhand, जो हमारे साथ जुड़ रहे हैं फ्रॉम ग्राउंड। नितिन, आप 2-3 दिन से इसको कवर कर रहे हैं, वहाँ काफी ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम है और लोग दहशत में हैं। आपके साथ भी लोग खड़े हैं, उनसे जरा बात करके बताइए वहाँ ग्राउंड पर सिचुएशन क्या है।
जी, आपको सीधे जोशीमठ की तस्वीरें हम दिखा देते हैं अपने दर्शकों को। न्यूज 18 लगातार जिस तरीके से इस पूरी खबर पर शुरू से बना हुआ था, ये देखिए आप जो ये आप लोगों को देख रहे हैं, ये लोग वो लोग हैं जो प्रभावित हैं। इस समय ये लोग घर छोड़ चुके हैं और सीधा इन्हीं लोगों से बात करेंगे कि क्यों इन्हें अपना घर छोड़ना पड़ा। जी, क्या ऐसी सिचुएशन आ गई कि आपको अपना घर छोड़ना पड़ा और कितने लोग प्रभावित हुए हैं?
भाई, जोशीमठ में जो है 60% जो है भूस्खलन तो हो ही गया है जी, या पर फिर भी लोग अपने घरों में रह रहे हैं। मगर हमारे जो है 7 परिवार जो है माउंट व्यू होटल और मिलानियन होटल के पीछे हैं। हम भी रह सकते हैं उनके अंदर, मगर उनके दहशत से नहीं रह पा रहे। हमने प्रशासन से कई बार ये बोल दिया भाई कि इन होटलों का मानकान जो है 3 मंजिल का है, ये 5 मंजिल बनी, इनको तुम 1-2 फ्लोर कम करो। मगर प्रशासन आ रहा है जा रहा है। एसडीएम साहब भी अपनी जो है छुट्टी चले गई है। यहाँ पर हम लोग किसके पास जाएंगे? प्रशासन तहसीलदार साहब आ रहे हैं, यहाँ पे देख रहे हैं, सब चले जा रहे हैं।
अभी कितने लोग शिफ्ट हुए हैं?
अभी तो हम लोग जो है 7 परिवार यहाँ पे शिफ्ट हुए हैं। जो इसके दहशत से हम लोग हैं, हमको तो जो है शिफ्ट होने की जरूरत भी नहीं थी, इतना डैमेज भी नहीं था, मगर हमको जो है ये 7 परिवार को यहाँ पर से इस होटल की मजबूरी से जाना पड़ा।
जी, जिस तरीके से उत्तराखंड सरकार ने एक बड़ा फैसला लिया है, उन्होंने जल विद्युत परियोजना के निर्माण पर रोक लगा दी है। इसके अलावा जो हिलक मारवाड़ी बाईपास है उस पर रोक लगा दी है, नव निर्माण पर रोक लगा दी। तो किस तरीके से इस बड़े फैसले को देखते हैं आप?
अब देखो, ये तो शासन और प्रशासन देखे हैं, मगर अभी हमारे लिए जो है एक गुरुद्वारे में जो है जो 2-2 खटिया दिए गए, लेके गए हम लोग, और आपके जो है बिस्तर लेके गए। मगर हमारे खाना बनाने तो हम घर ही पे आ रहे हैं। अगर बाई चांस हम खाना बनाते भाई दिन में खाना बनाने नाश्ता करने तो हम घर ही में आ रहे हैं, वो टूटे फूटे घर ही में आ रहे हैं हम लोग। मगर इसी के दहशत से जो है हम 1-2 रोटी खाने के 1 ही रोटी खा पा रहे हैं, 1 रोटी आधा रोटी खा रहे हैं, जल्दीबाजी 6 बजने के बाद तो ऐसा लग रहा है यहाँ पर कब छोड़े ऐसे अब सरकार से हमारा यही निवेदन है, प्रशासन से यही निवेदन है, होटल मांडवी और होटल मिलानी को जो इसको तोड़ने की कष्ट करें, बाकी तभी जी सकते हैं, नहीं तो हम नहीं जी सकते। धन्यवाद
जी। ये वो लोग हैं जिनका इस होटल के पीछे, हम आपको सीधा ये होटल एक दिखाएंगे। इस होटल को देखिए, इसके नीचे जो बस्ती है, ये बस्ती बहुत खतरनाक स्थिति में इस समय है। आप देखिए इसके नीचे जितने भी घर है, इस होटल के टूटने का उनको डर है। अगर ये होटल टूट जाएगा तो ये सीधे लटक कर इन मकानों के ऊपर से चला जाएगा। लगभग 10 से 15 परिवार ये है। तो स्थिति जो सबसे खतरनाक है, हालांकि पूरे जोशीमठ की है, 4 वार्डों की स्थिति बहुत ज्यादा खतरनाक है। लेकिन ये जो इलाका आप देख रहे हैं, ये जो होटल आप देख रहे हैं, ये नेशनल हाईवे पे, तो कहीं ना कहीं जो खतरा अभी भी है वो बिल्कुल बरकरार है और लोगों में अभी भी बहुत ज्यादा डर दिखाई दे रहा है।
ये लैंडस्लाइड की वजह से ये खतरा पैदा हुआ है या वहां कोई प्रोजेक्ट है जहां पर कुछ काम की वजह से लोग कह रहे हैं कि ये क्रैक्स, ये दरारें आ रही हैं घरों में? कोई तो वजह होगी जिसकी वजह से ये हो रहा है।
जी, आज 2 चीजें निकल कर आई हैं। एनटीपीसी जल विद्युत परियोजना के कार्यों पर जिस तरीके से रोक लगाया गया है और हिलंग मारवाड़ी बाईपास के कार्यों पर रोक लगाया गया है, इससे कहीं ना कहीं अब एक चीज निकलकर सामने आ रही है कि यही जो 2 प्रोजेक्ट हैं, जो जल विद्युत परियोजना एनटीपीसी और हिलंग मारवाड़ी बाईपास, इसी से जोशीमठ में भूस्खलन हो सकता है, ये संभावना जताई गई है। अगर प्रशासन ने आज इस पर फैसला दिया है तो कहीं ना कहीं ये बड़ा फैसला है और लापरवाही हुई है। अब जिस तरीके से इन प्रोजेक्टों को बंद कर दिया गया है, चमोली के अपर जिला अधिकारी ने एक लेटर जारी कर जो प्रभावित लोग हैं उन्हें समझाया है कि ये हमने बंद कर लिया है और अब आगे इन पर कार्य नहीं किया जाएगा। इसके साथ ही अगर बात करें तो जो निर्माण कार्य जोशीमठ में चल रहे हैं उन पर भी रोक लगा दी गई है। तो कहीं ना कहीं उत्तराखंड सरकार ने एक बड़ा फैसला जरूर लिया है, लेकिन इस फैसले में कितना दम है वो आने वाले समय बताएगा। जी
देखिए, ये दरारें बहुत बड़ी है। नितिन, आप मेरे साथ बने रहे। आई एम जस्ट गो अक्रॉस टू रमेश भट्ट एंड ऑल्सो आस्क हिम। रमेश, आप यू ऑल्सो बीन ट्वीटिंग अबाउट इट क्वाइट ऑफन, रेगुलरली यू बीन पुटिंग आउट रिपोर्ट्स। आप क्या कहते हैं, व्हाट इज द रीजन दिस इज हैपेंड? इज दिस बैड वेदर, लैंडस्लाइड्स की वजह से ये इस तरह का सिचुएशन आया है? और ये सारे जितने घर हैं, जितनी दरारें हैं, ये तो अब बियॉन्ड रिपेयर हैं।
आपने बिल्कुल ठीक कहा, ये बियॉन्ड रिपेयर हैं और इसके मल्टीपल रीजन बताए जा रहे हैं। देखिए, आज जो ये फैसला वहां के स्थानीय प्रशासन ने लिया है, ये जब सिचुएशन हाथ से निकलती जा रही थी और लोगों ने आज वहां पर चक्का जाम कर दिया था, कल शाम वहां पर लोगों ने बड़े पैमाने पर मिसाल जुलूस निकाला था, उसके बाद प्रशासन को ये लग गया कि अब सिचुएशन हैंडल करना बहुत मुश्किल है, इसलिए जो लोगों की नाराजगी है, वहां पर जो एनटीपीसी तपोवन विष्णुघाट जल विद्युत परियोजना 520 मेगावाट की है, उसकी जो सुरंग का निर्माण हो रहा है और जो नीचे मारवाड़ी वाले इलाके में जो बाईपास बन रहा है, उस पर तत्काल प्रभाव से रोक लगाई जाए। लेकिन सबसे बड़ा सवाल जो मैं यहाँ पर रखना चाहता हूं वो ये है कि एक शहर की एक कैरिंग कैपेसिटी होती है। अगर उस कैरिंग कैपेसिटी से आप ज्यादा निर्माण कर रहे हैं, और वैसे भी ये जो पूरा इलाका है वो सिस्मिक जोन 5 में आता है, कौन इनको निर्माण करने दे रहा है? वहां पर क्यों नहीं कोई चेक होता है? और जो सरकार की रिपोर्ट जो जिस ओर इशारा कर रही थी, जो अक्टूबर में आ गई थी, मैं आपको बताऊं, उसमें कहा गया था कि साहब वहां पर ड्रेनेज सिस्टम नहीं है, पानी की निकासी की व्यवस्था नहीं है, ये एक बड़ी वजह है। ये सारे मल्टीपल फैक्टर जो है, और खासकर नीचे से अलकनंदा जो भू कटाव कर रही है, तो ये मल्टीपल फैक्टर को बताया जा रहा है कि वहां पर जो बड़े बड़े क्रैक्स आ रहे हैं। लेकिन जो आपने कहा ये बात सही है कि ये क्रैक्स बियॉन्ड रिपेयर है। जाहिर है इस समय सरकार के लिए बहुत जरूरी है वहां पर प्रभावित लोगों को इवैक्यूएट किया जाए, सेफ जगह पर उनको लेके जाया जाए। मैं अभी आपको एक लेटेस्ट इंफॉर्मेशन देता हूं कि अभी मैं रिसेंटली एक सरकार की चिट्ठी देख रहा था जिसमें एनटीपीसी से 2000 प्री फैब्रिकेटेड भवनों की बात कही गई थी कि एनटीपीसी उन्हें मुहैया वहां पर करा दे ताकि लोगों को पहले सेफ जगह पर शिफ्ट कर दिया जाए। एक और बात जो बहुत जरूरी मुझे लगती है कि राज्य सरकार की कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग इतनी नहीं है कि इतनी बड़ी जो आपदा के मुहाने में जोशीमठ खड़ा है उससे निपट सके। जाहिर है उन्हें केंद्र सरकार से मदद लेनी चाहिए, गृह मंत्रालय से मदद लेनी चाहिए, नेशनल डिजास्टर रिस्पांस फोर्स से मदद लेनी चाहिए, और जितने भी एक्सपर्ट हैं जो इससे जुड़े हैं उनसे मदद लेनी चाहिए ताकि आप एक कंक्लूजन में पहुंचे कि भैया आखिर हो क्यों रहा है।
बिल्कुल। और इसमें रमेश जी एक बात यह है कि पानी जितना अगर जीवन दान देता है तो जीवन लेता भी है, और पानी जितना नुकसान एक कंस्ट्रक्शन को और सीपेज कर सकता है उससे ज्यादा और कुछ भी नुकसान नहीं कर सकता। एंड एवरी आवर ऑफ सीपेज, एवरी आवर ऑफ वाटर फ्लोइंग एंड कमिंग थ्रू इज ओनली गोइंग टू एक्सपोनेंशियली इंक्रीज द डेंजर ऑफ एन एंटायर शिफ्ट an entire part of Joshimath sliding through, and you can imagine the amount of damage that can cause to life and also of course property. I'm just going to ask Nitin quickly. Nitin, एक बात बताएं, क्या ये जो cracks निकली हैं, ये cracks चौड़ी होती जा रही हैं? क्या पानी का बहाव इनमें से जो है वो कम हुआ है?
जी निश्चित रूप से जो दरारें जो पहले पड़ी थी उनका अब जो आकार है वो बढ़ता चला जा रहा है, यानी कि 3 से 4 फीट, 5 फीट और 6 फीट तक की दरार अलग अलग जगहों पर है। जो पानी निकल रहा है वो जल विद्युत परियोजना एक और है यहाँ पे 420 मेगावाट की जय प्रकाश कंपनी, उसके कॉलोनी में निकल रहा है और वहां पर अभी भी पानी निकल रहा है। सबसे बड़ी समस्या अब यही है कि जब पहले दरार पड़ रही थी, लेकिन अब उन दरारों से जो पानी निकल रहा है वो कहीं ना कहीं एक खतरे की घंटी है, और अगर इसी तरीके से पानी निकलता रहा तो आने वाले समय में जोशीमठ में एक बड़ा हादसा भी हो सकता है।
जी, our research team has just given us some more inputs that large chunks of the Joshimath are located at a 6,000 feet height in Uttarakhand and considered to be of strategic importance because of its proximity to the Indo-China border and for being the gateway to Badrinath, the Sikh shrine Hemkund Sahib, and also skiing destination Auli and UNESCO World Heritage Site Valley of Flowers. Is it slowly sinking is a question, and there is a multi-institutional team constituted to undertake geological and geotechnical investigation around this entire town in Chamoli, that because it is built on an unstable foundation, a thick cover of landslide material which can give way in case of heavy rain, tremors, unregulated construction or more footfall than the town's carrying capacity. This threat looms, and this is something which has been spoken about since September 2022, and this is a problem. This has been accruing over the years. Final comment, Ramesh, that ये सालाना होते जा रहा है कि अक्टूबर 2021 में भी जब बारिश हुई थी, लैंडस्लाइड हुआ था, उसकी वजह से भी जमीन दरकने के इंस्टेंसेस हुए थे। तो क्या ये पूरा जोशीमठ का इलाका ही बहुत ज्यादा हाईली क्या कहते हैं अनस्टेबल सॉइल और फाउंडेशन पर है?
बिल्कुल, और भूवैज्ञानिक ये बार बार कह चुके हैं। जो आप कह रहे हैं कि 2022 सितंबर में एक रिपोर्ट आई थी जो सरकार ने कमेटी फॉर्म की थी, उसने तो खैर ड्रेनेज और पानी निकासी को एक बड़ा मुद्दा बनाया था, लेकिन आपको याद होगा 7 फरवरी 2021 को रैनी में एक आपदा आई थी, उसमें भी कई सौ लोग मारे गए थे। केवल मैं आपको बताऊं, केवल जोशीमठ ही नहीं, उत्तराखंड के पहाड़ के कई इलाके हैं जहां पर क्रैक्स देखने को मिल रहे हैं। अगर आप नैनीताल के कुछ इलाकों में भी देखेंगे, वहां भी, मसूरी में भी देखेंगे, क्रैक्स तो नहीं है लेकिन वो अपनी कैरिंग कैपेसिटी से ऊपर जा चुका है। देखिए, एक चैलेंजिंग सिचुएशन है गवर्नमेंट के सामने, और गवर्नमेंट को इसको ये एक असाधारण स्थिति है, और मैं कहूंगा गवर्नमेंट को असाधारण रिस्पॉन्स देने की जरूरत है। वो इसलिए क्योंकि जैसे जैसे आपके शहरों में दबाव बढ़ेगा, आपका कोई कंस्ट्रक्शन में चेक नहीं है, आपका कोई फुटफॉल पे चेक नहीं है, आपका एक जो धर्म संकट है सरकार के सामने, क्योंकि उत्तराखंड की इकोनॉमी अगर आने वाले समय में देखी जाए तो उसके लिए एक बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर था ये जो हाइड्रो पावर प्रोजेक्ट्स थे। ऑलमोस्ट हमारी जो मैं कहूंगा पोटेंशियल था वो 20,000
देखिए, हाइड्रो पावर प्रोजेक्ट में भी आपको फिजिबिलिटी स्टडी करने की जरूरत है। किस तरह से आप ब्लास्ट करते हैं, क्या उससे आसपास का इकोलॉजिकल इंपैक्ट क्या होगा, और नेचुरल जो इंपैक्ट है, फोर्स मेजोर जिसे कहा जाता है, अगर कैलामिटी हुई है, बारिश हुई है, जमीन दरकी है, वहां लैंडस्लाइड्स हुए हैं, यू हैव टू फैक्टर इन ऑल ऑफ दैट इन टर्म्स ऑफ व्हाट इज द क्वालिटी जियोलॉजिकली, इन टर्म्स ऑफ व्हाट इज द इंपैक्ट एंड हाउ रोबस्ट इज दैट एंटायर एरिया। ये सब तो जरूरी है, बिकॉज दिस इज calamity waiting to happen the way things are looking in Joshimath at this point, and clearly जैसा आप कह रहे हैं and locals are saying immediate action needs to be taken, immediate cognizance need to be taken. Every wasted hour is actually building up to a possible loss of lives and property in huge numbers, the way we are looking at things in Joshimath. Ramesh Bhatt, Nitin Simwal, thank you for your inputs. We're going to take a very short break here on the Nation at 5. We turn the spotlight towards the Kanjawala case, Kanjavla case, and also the latest developments thereof. Stay with us.